I may have found one of the weirdest cinema gadgets ever made. But to make it work again, I had to look for answers in the darkest corners of film history. This project showed me that I still have a lot to learn about weird lenses. And it all started when I opened a box at a flea market. While I was hunting for cool vintage gear, I came across a box of old 8mm equipment. Most of it was useless, or in terrible shape. But then I saw a little blue box. When I opened it, I knew I found something truly unique. This tiny thing wasn't a lens. It has no focus ring. It has no aperture. It isn't even made of normal lens elements. What I had in my hands was a rare early model of an anamorphic adapter. It's an optical tool that squeezes a wide image onto your film, so you can stretch it back out later, capturing a massive field of view and giving your footage that big screen movie look. I asked the seller for the price. He answered without much interest, €2. Without hesitations, I bought it. From that moment, only one thing was on my mind. Can I actually make this thing work again? This is a Delorama 8mm 1.5x squeeze factor, made in Europe by a company named Old Delft. The company was founded in the Netherlands in 1939, right at the start of World War II. They spent their infancy under Nazi occupation, surviving through secret research and hiding their best innovations from the Germans. This instilled a thinking outside the box culture that defined their creations. After the war, they specialized in using mirrors and prisms to fold light. They became world leaders in X-ray cameras and military night vision. This expertise in bending light is exactly what led to the creation of the Delorama. In 1956, Technicolor was looking for a way to beat CinemaScope. They commissioned Old Delft to build massive prism adapters for motion pictures cameras. This allowed them to capture an anamorphic image, but a different kind of anamorphic. These prisms were the heart of a system called Technirama. In fact, one of its earliest and most famous uses was on Stanley Kubrick's Spartacus. He used a massive Delorama anamorphic adapter, a giant version of the exact same prism technology I found in that blue box. Most anamorphic lenses use cylindrical glass, which often results in soft edges. The Delorama was fundamentally different, because it used curved mirrors and high-grade prisms instead of traditional glass elements. It didn't just squeeze the image, it reflected it with absolute precision. This meant you got almost zero barrel distortion and incredible surgical sharpness across the entire frame, from corner to corner. It produced an image so clean it didn't even look anamorphic. Disney's Sleeping Beauty was the first big animated test for this. Disney wanted every single hand-painted detail of the backgrounds to be visible, and only the Delorama prisms were sharp enough to do it.
Sleeping Beauty was filmed in Technorama 70 like this. That meant that all of our artwork, backgrounds, paintings had to be larger and more detailed.
But while the Delorama prism was sharp, it was still a separate, bulky piece of glass you had to mount in front of a lens. Panavision entered the scene with anamorphic lenses, where the squeeze was built inside the lens. These Panavision lenses were lighter, easier to focus, and had a unique character. Panavision became the industry standard. By the 1970s, the Delorama was already a ghost in Hollywood. It was too heavy in the new era of zoom lenses, and too complex for a world that wanted easy-to-use solutions. But it had one final secret mission. When George Lucas was filming Star Wars, his team at ILM pulled these weird Dutch prisms out of the trash to help film the miniature shots. The scenes where spaceships fly across the screen. After Star Wars, the Delorama prisms were forgotten. But in the 1950s, Old Delft tried to shrink their million-dollar Hollywood tech into a product for regular people. They released the Delorama 8 and 16, for home movie enthusiasts. It used the same mirror prism technology as Delorama to squeeze the word onto your film. The Delorama was a focus-through adapter, meaning you did all the work on your main lens. No double focusing required. Its advertising was a masterclass in exaggeration. They didn't sell it as an adapter. They sold it as a miracle for your wallet. They said that it would save you 50% on your film costs. They argued that because the view was wider, you didn't need to pan the camera as much, so you'd shoot for lesser time. It was a big marketing stretch, but it promised to turn your travel films into Hollywood movies. It was even a 2-for-1 product. You'd use it on your camera to take the movie, then move it on your projector to show it. But the Delorama was over-engineered. It had a fixed focus spot of 4 meters. Anything beyond that was blurry, unless you close your aperture to f11. The alignment of the prisms had to be perfect to the fraction of a millimeter. If a consumer dropped it once, the adapter had to be serviced. Even worse, it used front surface mirrors. Over time, humidity and oxygen hit the silver coating. By the 1970s, many of these miracle lenses were literally rotting from the inside, becoming foggy and useless, while standard glass lenses from the same era still works today. My €2 flea market find actually has a mirror in pretty bad shape. By the early 60s, Japanese companies like Kowa and Yashica figured out how to mass-produce cylindrical glass adapters. While the Delorama was optically superior with zero distortion, the Japanese glass was smaller, lighter, and easier to understand. Delorama disappeared because nobody wanted a scientific miracle if they couldn't just throw it in a camera bag. The 8mm version is tiny. To use it on a full-frame camera, you are limited to very long focal lengths, 100mm or more. Otherwise, you just see the inside of the adapter. To really test this technology, I had to find its bigger brother, the 16mm version. Because many are in bad shape, prices are low, and I found a clean one quickly. This 16mm version is almost intact. The mirrors are clean and the glass is clear. This is the perfect unit to test the Delorama's true capacity. The 16mm has a larger rear element, allowing for wider lenses. I could go as wide as 75mm on full frame. By using step-down rings, I managed to mount the adapter to the front of the lens to run some image quality tests. The initial results are really impressive. It seems that there's no image distortions on the entire frame, and the edge sharpness is perfect. But in these samples, the adapter orientation was off by just a millimeter, which is why the footage doesn't look quite straight. I will correct this on the second test by using guiding lines on my monitor to ensure everything is square. The Delorama has a different anatomy than a normal anamorphic lens. You won't get those iconic streak flares. Instead, you get weird artifacts that look like physical objects entering the frame. Because it was designed for both capture and projection, It has that fixed focus of 4 meters. That's the perfect distance for a family portrait or a projection screen. But anything closer is a blurry mess. To fix this, I used diopters, basically magnifying glasses for the lens. With these, I can finally get close to my subjects. Now that I solved the close focusing issues and fixed the adapter orientation, I'm finally ready to see what the Delrama can really do. I still can't quite understand why something so promising disappeared from everyone's memory. The Delorama was too perfect, too fragile, and ultimately too weird for its own survival. It didn't change cinema, it just became a beautiful footnote in its history. For me, this wasn't just about testing a gadget. It was about reconnecting with the spirit of crazy cinema experiments. The fact that 70 years later, this adapter can still deliver such charming widescreen footage is deeply impressive. Let me know in the comments what other hidden pieces of cinema tech I should uncover next. If you're more into lenses with insane swirly bokeh, you might want to check this out. After more than 10 years of testing strange and beautiful vintage projector lenses, I've finally gathered everything I've learned into one complete guide. It's called the Projector Lens Handbook, a 130-page ebook packed with my best advice for getting incredible swirly bokeh and unique cinematic images using cheap forgotten lenses. Just click the link in the description to grab your copy. Oh, and if you are a channel member, you get 30% off.